Our fans are cannibals. They eat at each other, and they eat the people that they like. And as soon as somebody falls from grace, let somebody get in a verbal altercation with their wife, or get a DUI, assault somebody for being, out of line with them. Man, we'll come down on them with no mercy and no faith, no forgiveness, no grace. Like, oh man, fuck him. He ain't shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
why
there is
we
that.
do
There
that.
is that.
It's only wrestling.
They do that in music too. I will say it's not as prevalent in wrestling. I mean, me and Brandon talk about this all the time. Like he dubbed it the shitterverse for wrestling fans because it's all over the place. It's kind of the fun part of it. I get for them too is because they're fantasy booking as wrestling fans as we are. That's what we're doing anyway. When I'm on the phone with Brandon, we're sitting there fantasy booking and saying what we think should happen and shit. But neither one of us have been in wrestling. You're the only one here who's been in wrestling, been in the ring, and actually has any knowledge of it. The rest of us are just like kind of fans talking shit. They take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And to your point, though, it is shitty that like the personal, like if somebody falls from grace in their personal life for a little bit, how quick everyone is to jump on it, especially these days. And that happens in music too. As you were saying it, I was thinking of a few guys over the years, and it's really unfortunate because especially now, a lot of it is hearsay and just like someone making a comment on the shit verse, and then everybody jumps on it like it's fact when nothing else has really come out about it yet other than one or two people saying something happened. And then you don't have context, you don't have both sides of the story, you don't have any of that shit, and people just start burying them, and then for those years they have to like sit there and take that. And then when everything comes out a few years later, they're like, see, I told you. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, we shouldn't have been so hard on him.
Yeah.
But you already were.
Mark and I were talking about that on our show today with Chris Jericho. Like Chris Jericho, who's given so much to the world of pro wrestling. And
Rock.
Then there's an accusation that turned out that the accusation wasn't true, but the damage is done because now he's being labeled as a certain type of person when the person who even made that accusation went back and said, well, I never actually made that accusation. But it's out there. You've already been judged by fans, and it's
that
very
might be
hard.
and unfortunately that might be their form of their 15 minutes of fame these days. Is like if I just that's how I'm going to get recognized, and it sucks for so many levels. One I will briefly talk about is that it fucks up for true victims. Like true victims, like now you have to check everything. Who's crying wolf right now, and that really sucks for the real victims. And then the other ones who are just like playing off of it for some kind of recognition is just bullshit. And I'm glad you brought up Chris because me and Brandon, I'm friends with Chris. I've been friends with him for many years now. And when that news broke out, we talked about it right here too. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense. I've known Chris for over a decade now. There's no way that this makes any sense. Now, am I with him 24/7? No, and we don't know everybody's demons and stuff.
It just don't sound like him.
It just don't sound like him was my point. Like, and of course it obviously, as Dave just pointed out, turned out not to be. But I was like, dude, I've hung out with him a lot. Drinking, not drinking, fucking just, talking wrestling, talking music. Obviously he's an encyclopedia of music too. Super fun to talk to him about that stuff. Been on his show and stuff, and over the years, I've never seen anything like that before.